Hello everyone, I'm Linda. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'll be creating a simple guessing game in C#. This video is targeted towards beginners. Before we begin the video, please subscribe, leave a comment, and turn on the notification bell to receive more related videos. Now, let's get started. Firstly, we need to understand what is variables. Variables act as memory containers in a computer.
They can hold various data types such as numbers, words, true or false values, and more. These containers enable you to store and work with data during the program's execution, making it flexible for use and reuse as required. In C#, variables come in various types, and there are multiple ways to assign values to them. Now let's look at a couple of examples. An example of the different ways a value can be assigned to a variable is outlined below. Number 1, declare a variable, and then assign a value. Hear the example number 2. Declare a variable and assign a value in the same statement. Hear the example, the last one. Declare multiple variables of the same type and assign values at the same time, on the same line. Now let's see the integers. Integers are whole numbers. They can be positive or negative, using the int keyword to create an integer variable. See the example here. There are other types of integers. The first type is long. This means a long integer, or a 64-bit integer. These allow you to go much higher than 2 billion. Long integers can go from 9 quintillion to 9 quintillion. The second type is short. This means a short integer, or a 16-bit integer. These take up less space but can't go as high. Next, string. A string in C# is like a text box that can store lots of letters like names or messages. It can even hold a book's contents with a maximum size of 2 GB. Here, see the example. In programming, C# requires double quotation marks. When a value is added to a string, it must be enclosed double quotation marks. Next, booleans. A boolean variable is a special type of variable that can only be true or false. Here, see the example. This creates a boolean variable called isMorning. The code then checks to see if the time is less than 12, and if so, isMorning is set to true. Now let's create a number guessing game in C#. Firstly, launch Visual Studio on your computer. Next, click Create a New Project or go to the File menu, select New, and then choose Project. You can also use keyboard shortcuts, Ctrl+Shift and +N. In the Search for Templates bar, or use keyboard shortcuts Alt+S, tying window forms, and scroll down, choose the C#, and choose the Windows Forms app .NET framework, and click Next. This is the template it'll use for a simple text-based guessing game. Now, give the project a name. I call it as Number Guessing Game, and choose a location to save it or just use default, and click the Create button. Let's get started. First, we're going to set up our game window. Head over to the toolbox and locate the Picture Box control. Simply drag and drop it onto your window. Now, click right here and choose Image. Click on Import and browse to your image file. Find the image you want to use, click Open, and then OK. Your image is now imported into the window. You can resize it and position it exactly how you want it to appear in your game. Let's take a moment to adjust the image size and position to make our game window just right for our players. The next we'll need is a button. Click the toolbox and look for the button control. Simply drag it onto your window. Then, go to the bottom right corner, the Properties bar. Change the text button 1 to Guess. And going to Data Bindings, change the Name button 1 to Button Guess. Now you can see the Guess button, and now double-click on it, and that will open up the class behind the scenes and create a nice click method for us. Now, I write a comment for the button Guess click method. Single-line comments start with 2 forward slashes. This method is triggered when the Guess button is clicked. Next, we go the main form. The Form 1 class is the main form of our game. Firstly, we'll need is for generating random numbers, so create an instance of the random class. It will allow us to generate random numbers within a specified range between 1 and 100. Random equal new, random. Next, int number to guess. This variable will store the number the player needs to guess. Next, int number of guess. This variable will keep track of the number of guesses made by the player. Brush default color. We use this variable to store the default color for UI elements. Now I am going to create text button. Click the toolbox and look for text box. Simply drag it onto your window. Next, I am going to create another button. Just copy and paste this one. Go to the Properties bar. Change the text Guess to Reset. And going to Data Bindings. Change the Name button 1 to Button Reset. Now you can see the Reset button and double-click on it, and that will open up the class behind the scenes. Here, we write the number to guess text random. Next 101. So this would generate a random number between 1 and 100 inclusive. I would just pass 101 for the upper bound, and that'll give me a random number between 1 and 100. Number of, guess 0. We are resetting the number of guess variable to 0. Textbox.text equal double quotes. This line of code clears any text that was previously entered in text box 1, allowing for a fresh input. Now, let's create 3 labels. To do this, head to the toolbox and locate the label control. Simply drag and drop it onto your window. Click on the first label and then navigate to the Properties bar. Change the text from Label 1 to Guess a Number. Double-click on the label to access its properties. This method will handle events related to label when guess a number. Now, go back to the Form1.cs design window, copy the first label, and paste it. After pasting, go to the Properties bar and change the text from Guess a Number to Numbers Range 1 to 100. Double-click on this label to access its properties similar to the first one. Repeat the process for the third label, copy and paste the label, and in the Properties bar, change Numbers Range 1-100 to Response. Additionally, navigate to Data Bindings and change the name from Button 3 to Label Response. And double-click on this label to access its properties. Now we back to Button Reset here to write label response.backcolor equals color.white. In these lines of code, we are customizing the appearance and content of a label control called label response. Label response.backcolor equals color. White. It sets the background color of the label to white. Label response.text equals start a new game. This line sets the text displayed within the label response. Now, we copy the code inside the Windows Form 1, sets up the initial state and behavior of that window. Let's create an integer called guess inside the button guess click. Defining a new integer variable named guess. An integer is a data type used to store whole numbers, and setItInt.parse textbox1.text. This part assigns a value to the guess variable. It uses it to parse and convert the text entered in text box 1 into an integer. Number of guess plus. Number of guess is a counter that keeps track of how many guesses the player has made in the game. By using the plus operator, we increase the value of number of guess by 1 each inside the button guess click. Next, we are going to write if statement, if guess equals number to guess, label response. Text display a message. Congratulations, you guessed correctly. It took you plus number of guess plus times. Label response. Back color display. Color is lime. Button guess, enabled, false. This line disables a button with the name button guess. Next, we write else if. Else if guess less number to guess. Label response. Text display a message. Too low, try again. And the label response. Back color will display color is .sky blue. Next, we write else. Label response. Text display a message. Too high, try again. Label response. Back color is set to color, pink. Let's run the program. Let's enter 50. It says too high. Try again. Let's enter 42 this time. Too high. Let's try 31. It says our guess is too high. Let's try 18. Still too high. Let's try 8. It says too low. Let's try 13. It says too low. Let's try 16. It says, "Congratulations, you guessed correctly. It took you 8 times." Now, let's go ahead and start by setting up some properties, located in the bottom right corner here, such as adjusting the background color. You can change font style, size, and border style. You can just use mouse to adjust the size. You change anything you like it. Limit the user from sizing it once the app is launched. To change the font color, here, click the arrow button and select your preferred color from Custom, Web, or System options, and choose the desired color. You just keep tweaking everything until you're satisfied. So go to the bottom right corner once again. Let's change out the font a little bit, make it bold. Whatever font you'd like. Okay, keep tweaking with those settings. It may take some time to adjust the color and size. Once everything is adjusted, let's run it again. Let's try it again. You can press the reset button to start a new game. You just keep tweaking and testing everything until you're happy with the final result.
That's all for today's video, how to create a number guessing game in C#. If you like the video, please subscribe, leave a comment, and turn on the notification bell to receive more related videos. Thank you for watching. I will see you in next video.